All right, so this is another one that's in vertex form and convert it to standard form. So let's say we had something like -4 parentheses x plus 5 squared and then a -7 outside. So that's in vertex form. Let's convert that over to standard form. -4 and then what happens when I square x plus 5? What do I get?
X plus 5.
Times x plus 5. What is that? Good job. Now, how's he doing that so fast?
But it's smart.
Well, that, and he's done it before. It's out of 1. X times x is x squared. 5 times 5 is 25. And then the middle term is always going to be multiply these two together and double it. So 5 times x is 5x. Double 5x is 10. If you look back up here at the first example, you know, when we squared that, x squared is there. 4 squared, 16. -4 times x is -4x. There's 2 of them. That's the double it part. So that's -8x. It's always going to be that pattern when you square those binomials. The quicker you learn that shortcut, the faster you're going to get at being able to convert between vertex and standard form. There's good things about standard form that make other things that we're going to have to find quicker. There are good things about vertex form that make things we're going to have to find quicker. So being able to bounce back and forth between the two forms can be helpful as far as finding those other things that we need to find. Okay. All right. So once we've multiplied that out, distribute -4x squared minus 40x minus 100, and then the -7. Combine the like terms. -4x squared minus 40x minus 107. And there's our standard form from that. Easy. Questions about that?
How would you work this out?
You wouldn't.
Or we'd have to, we're able to use calculators.
There's not a calculator's not going to do that for you. You got to use your brain. I mean, there's no. I mean, you the arithmetic, multiply it on the calculator if you need to, but there's no calculator trick to that that's gonna do that for you. All right, let's look at one more of those. Say we have f of x is equal to parentheses x plus 3 squared minus 8.
Oh, Lord.
And nothing in front of the parentheses this time. No, we're not solving. We're multiplying this out and getting it just like example A and B. This is not doing anything new.
Wait, x squared plus 6 plus 9.
X squared plus 6x plus 9, and then a minus 8. That's right. Good job, Kate. You must have had a good algebra 1 teacher.
I sure did.
Yeah. All right, and then combine like terms. I think this is the easier route. To go from vertex to standard, it's probably the easiest route. That's why we did it first. I don't know about that. All right, so that's converting from vertex form to standard form. Let's go the other direction, which is a little bit more difficult, but convert from standard to vertex. And kind of in parentheses there, this is where we want to complete the square. That's how we want to do that. So let's just get a few examples of this. Very, very straightforward. So f of x equals, let's do x squared minus 8x plus 17. So it's in standard form to start off with. And I want to convert that over to vertex form. Okay, so the process that you want to use is completing the square. And what we have to do there is we have to create some space. So I'm going to move the 17 over to the right just a little bit and create a little extra space there. And I'm going to put, a parenthesis to separate it. It's already starting to look like vertex form because I put parentheses in it. I didn't do anything magical there. I just put some parentheses there. Now, if we remember from solving by completing the square, we need to take half of what?
The
8, the b,
square it.
and square it.
16.
So half of 8 is -4 in this case, and then square that, be 16. So I'm adding 16 here. If I add 16, I got to keep the equation the same. So if I add it here, what do I have to do out here?
Add it. Subtract it.
Subtract it, so it would cancel each other out technically. Now, what we've done is we've made this a perfect square trinomial that factors. Remember when we completed the square, that's going to be x plus whatever half of b was. Colin? 16 came from half of -8, which is -4, squared is 16. That's where that's coming from.
So it's going to be x plus 4 squared plus 7.
Not plus 4, but -4 because it was a -8.
You just said it was plus, though.
It's always plus half of b. Half of b was -4. So plus -4 is the same as -4. That's where I'm at there. And then on the outside here, we can simplify that. 17 minus 16 is 1. And guess what? Well, you got it in vertex form. Half of b, half of -8 is -4. That's always going to be right there. 16 came from -4 times -4. And I'm adding it in here, subtracting it out there. We're going to do several examples of this. So I just get to that. So let's take another one. Let's say we had x squared plus 6x plus 3. There's one that's in standard form. We want to rewrite that in vertex form. So make room. We're going to take what? Half of 6, which is 3, square it. So plus a 9 on the inside, not plus 9, and then minus 9 on the outside. Not plus, but minus 6. What's in the parentheses? X plus 3. And he said this was the harder part. It's not really that hard if you just remember your rules for complete the square. It didn't work. I thought of that when I was about to sneeze and I couldn't stop. All right, so let's look at this one. What if we've got a number in front of the x squared? That makes it a little bit more difficult, but I want to show you that it's not that much more difficult. I'm going to pick 12 there, and then plus 7 really doesn't matter. What's going on there? Okay. Now, so if there's a number, there's a number the size of 1. So the first two examples of this we did, there was only a 1 in front of x squared, so that's pretty straightforward. When there's a number here, it's not quite as straightforward. So what we need to do is still make the space. It's still the same process as far as that goes. We're not going to divide everything by 3. We are going to technically divide by 3, but we're going to call it factor the 3 out of the first 2 terms.
So it's gonna be x squared minus 4x.
Now, so when we factor that 3 out, that's going to leave us 3 parentheses, what Caitlin said, x squared minus 4x. We're separating this 7. It's just kind of hanging out watching what's happening until we get done. Okay? So we put this 3 out here in the front. We're going to complete the square on the inside the same way. Take half of b. Half of negative 4 is negative 2 and square it. So we're adding 4 on the inside. Not 4 on the outside, but technically we're adding 4 times 3. So we got to subtract 3 times 4. And I'm writing it like it's 12, but I'm writing it 3 times 4 just so that I can show this is where it's coming from. That's where that 3 times 4 is coming from. Whatever's out in front times whatever we added. We've got to subtract that amount out there. Yes, you're always going to subtract on the outside when you're converting to vertex form from standard form. So what's my factor right here? X minus 2, good. And then 7 minus 12 would be minus 5. There we have vertex form out of that. So that number in the front really doesn't do a whole lot to it, but it does, create some sort of issue for us to deal with. Let's do another one. You wish that you had some more. So let's look at one like this. F of x, or we'll just put, I'm going to put y, because I'm trying to write f of x. Y, and then who's doing
She's asleep.
Here you go.
Thank you. Make sure you put it back in the water.
All right, so let's say we had one that had a negative number in the front. So like negative 4x squared plus, that'll be nice, 24x, and then a minus 13. Okay? So we're going to complete the square, write it in vertex form. So we'll move the 13 over here. I'm going to make myself some space. But what am I going to have to do with the first 2 terms? Negative 4. So I'm factoring out a negative 4. And that's going to leave me x squared. What? Is it plus 6x? Minus, because I pulled out a negative. So that's a minus. Changes that sign to a minus 6x. And then I've got some room to complete my square here. So how much am I adding inside of the parentheses? Where's that coming from, Kegel?
Half of b.
Half of b. Half of negative 6 is negative 3. We square that, and that's where, again, you add 9 in there. Okay, and then how much do we subtract on the outside? Negative 4 times 9. Whatever we add on the inside, we got to multiply by what's out here. Kyle. Yes, you will always subtract out there. Now, I've got a negative number here, but I'm still using a subtraction symbol right here. 9 is from half of negative 6. It's negative 3 squared. It's 9. I'm always going to complete the square by taking half of b and squaring it. Okay, and then we just need to simplify and write our factored form. So that'd be x minus 3. And then negative 4 times 9 is negative 36, but I'm subtracting negative 36. So negative 13 minus negative 36 would be positive, how much? 23. And there's vertex form. Let's do one more. Four x squared plus 11. I want to really write that in vertex form. Yeah. Like, I mean, like, there's something special about this one. What's missing in the standard form there? B. So it's really 4x squared plus something plus 11. What's the something in the middle? 0x. So that's really what's there.
I think I know why I ain't been doing so good at algebra. I think it's got a lot to do with Spanish.
I mean, there's not much to do with Spanish. Factor out the 4. 0 divided by anything is going to be 0. The 11 over there. Then we're going to take half of b. What's half of 0?
0.
0. What's 0 squared?
0.
0. So technically I'm adding 0 and subtracting 4 times 0, which is 0.
0.
Now, let's write our vertex form. What's the factor inside? That's not that different than what we started with, but this is the technical vertex form. Technical, you know, that's the vertex form, okay? All right. Yeah, you want to work these on before you get started. You're on the blank focus. So.
Why did I skipping?
Because I cut the first 5 off. Because they weren't what I wanted to do. They were asking you to do something different.
You mean the first thing?
I just wanted to do this skill today. The other questions are something else that we will do. It's not today. Okay. So you got 7 through 30 there. So 24 problems. On the first, looks like the first 12, they're in vertex form. Write them in standard form. The next 12 are in standard form. Write them in vertex form. That's what I need you to do. And then tomorrow we'll take the next step in getting to. Today is the 15th. Yeah.